Welcome to a secret location somewhere in Germany where I'm here to see the dominator of internet drag races, otherwise known as the Porsche 911 Turbo S. And with a 0 to 62 mile an hour time of 2.5 seconds, this new 992.2 version is the fastest production 911 ever. But honestly, that 0 to 62 mile an hour time is just scratching the surface. So keep watching for 8 things that you need to know about the new 911 Turbo S. This one won't come as a surprise to anyone that's paid attention to the launch of the 992.2 Carrera GTS. That car uses what Porsche calls T-hybrid technology. It's essentially a 400-volt high-voltage system that, in the GTS, employs a small battery and a single electric turbo, or E-turbo as Porsche's calling it, in order to increase power, drivability, and responsiveness. It's exactly the same principle in the Turbo S, except this time there's 2 E-turbos on the 3.6-litre flat 6. Total output is 701 brake horsepower between 6,500 and 7,000 RPM, while total torque is now 590 pounds-foot from just 2,300 RPM. That, of course, makes it the most powerful production 911 ever. The 0 to 62 mile an hour time we know is 2.5 seconds. That's 0.2 quicker than it was before, while the 0 to 124 mile an hour time is now 8.4 seconds, which is a whole half second faster than the previous 911 Turbo S. The quarter mile is done in 10.3 seconds, and the top speed is a nice round 200 miles an hour, probably a little bit more. Safe to say, this thing isn't going to lose its rep as the drag race king anytime soon. Like the GTS, the Turbo S uses a 1.9 kilowatt-hour battery that is far smaller than those seen in rivals. It's not a plug-in and there's no dedicated EV range. It's there primarily to improve performance. For the Turbo S, the turbine and compressor design were both enhanced in order to deliver that considerable 60 brake horsepower increase compared with the last Turbo S. But you know, it's not just outright power that the 400-volt system is useful for. Having that 400-volt architecture also means that Porsche has been able to give the 911 Turbo S something called EPDCC as standard. Now that stands for Electronic Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control. And what it does is it uses cross-connected active coupling rods whereby the pressure is built up by the volume of oil flow, and that stabilizes the car in the corners. It makes it more agile, it makes it flatter, and also a bit more predictable to drive. Or at least that's the theory. The thing is, before we shot this, I actually got a chance to go out with Jörg Bergmeister driving the 911 Turbo S around the Weissach test track. And while it was a very eye-opening experience in terms of Jörg's driving, he is absolutely ballistic, I also did feel like there was a bit more control from the Turbo S's body. In previous cars, especially in the 991.2, which I think is the one that sticks in my mind the most, I felt like it was a little bit soft, even on the road, whereas in this, it's certainly softer than a GT3 or a GT3 RS. It hasn't become a track car overnight, it's still very much focused for the road, but when he did tip it into the corners, it felt very controllable, very composed, but also surprisingly flat as well, considering that it isn't as firm as a GT car. So yeah, feels like it's made a difference, but we won't know that for sure until we drive it. Despite all the electrical components on board, the 992.2 Turbo S weighs in at just 86 kilograms heavier than its predecessor at around 1,725 kilograms. Now, that's still a noticeable amount. It's the equivalent of an adult male passenger after all, but it's far less than most hybrid systems weigh. And if you really want to be picky about weight saving, how about the optional carbon fiber wiper arm that saves around 50% compared with the standard components? Okay, so Porsche hasn't ripped up the rulebook with the looks, but then who can blame them? Instead, the 992.2 Turbo S gets Turbonite badges, as well as Turbonite center locks on selected wheel designs. Also, the ventilation openings on the redesigned rear end work to emphasize width, while a new titanium exhaust system and dynamic pearl detailing above the center brake light give further clues. Inside, there's more Turbonite colouring across the door panel, steering wheel, instrument cluster, centre console, seat belts and dashboard. And incidentally, the Turbo S Coupe is a two-seater as standard with additional rear seats, a no-cost option. Of course, no serious performance car launched in 2025 would be complete without active aero, and it's no different with the Turbo S. The drag coefficient of the 992.2 is reduced by 10% compared with its predecessor, which was already a slippery car. So just like the last 911 Turbo S, there is an active rear wing which can extend outwards and also tilt, but there's lots of new active aero stuff at the front end as well. So you've got the diffuser underneath, which is active. There's also the front lip spoiler, which can extend outwards, and these vertical cooling slats, which is a big styling differentiator from the previous car. And what they can do, actually, in wet mode, is they'll close up under braking so that you don't get excess spray on the brake discs. But what I want to know is whether that can still work even when you're not in wet mode, because anyone that's driven a 911 Turbo S will know that in wet mode, it's very tied down, it's very safe, and actually, you don't always need it if the road is wet. So it would be good to get that feature when the car is in other modes, but it's still wet outside. So we'll see if that happens. Speaking of brakes, it's carbon ceramics as standard, but with new motorsport-derived pads designed to improve performance and feel. What's more, the rear discs have increased in diameter from 390mm to 410. That's only 10mm smaller than the front discs, and it means the 992.2 Turbo S has the largest Porsche carbon ceramic brake system ever installed to a two-door model. So there's larger brakes, but there's also larger tyres. The fronts are unchanged, but the rears are now 325, 30 and 21 inch. That's 10mm wider than they were before. Porsche also reckons that the new rubber is much better in the dry in terms of outright performance, and there's a little bit of an improvement in the wet as well. And incidentally, from factory, it's either Goodyear or Pirelli tyres on the Turbo S. On the passenger ride today, we went on Pirellis, and I'm sure the Goodyears will be excellent as well, but until we drive it, it's a little bit difficult to give you a proper impression. Clearly, the changes have worked. It's quicker in a straight line, but it's also quicker on track. A lot quicker on track. The 992.2 911 Turbo S's Nürburgring time is 7 minutes, 3 seconds, 0.92, and that's approximately 14 seconds faster than this car's predecessor. And to give you some context on that, this car's predecessor was about a second faster than the 991.2, which was the car before that. So we've somehow gone from a 1 second improvement to approximately 14-second improvement. And I've got to say, it's a little bit difficult to see exactly where that's come from, because at the end of the day, it is a heavier car. I mean, it's got more power, it's got better rubber, it's got more aero, and it's got the fancy suspension. But it's a heavier car, and it should just be an incremental improvement. I mean, maybe Jorg's driving made up the difference, but 14 seconds? That's absolutely humongous. I'd love to know exactly where they got it from. Also, and just for a bit of context, that time puts it ahead of an AMG GTR Pro, but interestingly, it is still way behind the far less powerful but much lighter 911 GT3. If Nürburgring times aren't your thing, or maybe they are and you just fancy tackling the green hell with the roof off, not advised, then the 911 Turbo S is once again available as a coupe, but also as a cabriolet. If you're interested in buying either, then the coupe starts at £199,100 and the cabriolet is £10,000 more at £209,100. Which one would you pick? Let us know in the comments section below.